Hi, welcome back to the channel. Today I will review the book The Second Sleep from Robert Harris, and it's from 2019. It is an ambitious and conceptually daring novel. It intertwines the suspense of historical fiction with the speculative imagination of dystopian literature. With this book, Harris departs from conventional genre expectations and blurs the line between past and future, faith and reason, revelation and repression. Through its deft manipulation of temporal assumptions, The Second Sleep offers a profound meditation on the fragility of civilization and humanity's cyclical tendency to forget its own history. Spoiler warning, if you haven't read the book yet, you might not want to watch this video until you have. Let's get started. At the beginning of the novel, The Second Sleep appears to be set in medieval England. A young priest, Christopher Fairfax, arrives in a remote village to conduct the burial of an elderly clergyman, Father Lacey. The setting evokes all the hallmarks of the Middle Ages: a superstitious rural community, ecclesiastical hierarchy, and suspicion of heretical knowledge. In preparation of the funeral's sermon, Fairfax explores Lacey's study, and he finds among the late priest's possessions are relics of a technologically advanced past. It turns out to be an iPhone, a fragment of plastic, forbidden books, and a letter suggesting the ruins of a modern civilization. Harris masterfully stages this revelation as an incremental unsettling, leading the reader to realize that the story takes place not in the distant past, but in a post-apocalyptic future, centuries after an unspecified catastrophe has obliterated modern society and plunged humanity back into a new dark age. Fairfax's growing awareness of this truth mirrors humanity's rediscovery of its own lost enlightenment. His moral and spiritual crisis, torn between religious orthodoxy and forbidden curiosity, becomes a microcosm of civilization's struggle between dogma and progress. The central philosophical thread of The Second Sleep is the cyclical nature of civilization. Harris implicitly invokes the historian Arnold Toynbee's theory of the rise and fall of civilizations, suggesting that technological progress does not ensure moral or intellectual advancement. Toynbee's theory suggests that a civilization arises when a creative minority successfully meets existential, environmental, or social challenges through innovation and leadership, inspiring the broader society to follow. Over time, however, this creative energy wanes. The ruling group becomes a dominant minority, clinging to past solutions, while the majority grows disaffected. This failure of adaptation leads to internal disintegration, loss of unity, and eventual collapse, marking not an inevitable fate, but the consequence of moral and spiritual decline in the face of new challenges. Early on in the book, the reader learns that the present society exists centuries after a catastrophic apocalypse that ended the technological civilization of what the book describes as the ancients. In this time, the remnants of advanced pre-collapse culture, our present era, are shrouded in taboo. The Church strictly forbids inquiry into the ancients' world, condemning curiosity about their artifacts, machines, or knowledge as heretical. This prohibition has created a fearful and superstitious society where history is rewritten as moral warning rather than studied for truth. Early in the novel, this tension between faith and forbidden knowledge sets the stage for the protagonist's dawning realization that the past may hold the cause of humanity's fall. In this way, Harris turns the archaeological gaze upon modernity itself, inviting readers to confront the possibility that our own civilization could one day be similarly forgotten and mythologized by our successors. The novel also interrogates the power structures that emerge from the control of knowledge. The church of this future age functions both as a protector and censor, maintaining social order through the suppression of historical truth. Fairfax's internal conflict between his duty to the church and his yearning for truth dramatizes a perennial human tension. The comfort of belief versus the danger of knowledge. Harris avoids overt anti-religious rhetoric. Instead, he depicts faith as a double-edged sword, capable of providing meaning but also of enforcing ignorance. Harris portrays civilization as a precarious construct, easily undone by environmental or technological catastrophe. The apocalypse that destroyed the old world is vaguely attributed to environmental collapse and digital overreach, leaving readers to infer its resemblance to current anxieties, climate change, data dependency, and systemic fragility. Harris's restraint in naming the cause of the collapse enhances its allegorical power. What matters is not how the world ended, but how quickly its memory vanished. What is quite unsettling is that in the book the apocalypse took place in fall of 2025. One notable difficulty for readers of The Second Sleep lies in Robert Harris's deliberate use of archaic or old-style English, which mirrors the medieval-like society in which the story is set. While this stylistic choice powerfully reinforces the novel's atmosphere of lost knowledge and constrained thought, it can also make reading more laborious. Sentences often carry a slower cadence, dialogue feels stiffly formal, and familiar concepts are expressed through unfamiliar idioms, all of which require readers to adjust their pace and interpretive habits. The slow realization of the novel's temporal setting is achieved through masterful narrative misdirection. By withholding the full truth of the setting until the midpoint, Harris mirrors the epistemic blindness of his characters. The reader, too, becomes complicit in mistaking the past for the future. Structurally, The Second Sleep functions as both mystery and allegory. Its thriller elements, secret documents, hidden chambers, forbidden relics, provide propulsion, while its deeper impact lies in its philosophical resonance. The title itself refers to a historical practice in pre-industrial Europe where people divided their sleep into two phases, first sleep and second sleep, separated by a period of wakefulness. Metaphorically, this bifurcated rest becomes a symbol for human awakening. Each second sleep marks the return to unconsciousness after brief enlightenment. While The Second Sleep was praised for its conceptual audacity, some critics found its ending abrupt and its speculative frame underdeveloped. The novel concludes not with apocalyptic revelation, but with quiet resignation. Fairfax's discovery remains partial and his rebellion muted. By refusing a conclusive exposition, Harris preserves the ambiguity that sustains the novel's haunting power. What distinguishes The Second Sleep with Harris's other work is its fusion of historical imagination and philosophical inquiry. Harris's tone is uniquely English, measured, skeptical, and morally understated. The novel's world feels both ancient and eerily imminent, a mirror in which our own epoch of technological arrogance can see its reflection. The Second Sleep is a haunting parable of memory, faith, and human frailty. In its imagined future that looks indistinguishable from our medieval past, Harris confronts readers with a sobering question. How enduring is progress, and what will remain when our own age becomes legend? As a reader, you pause and think about what items in our current environment would possibly be preserved over centuries of decay. You sort of look around your own room, your apartment, and question whether anything in it could possibly be preserved, and then rediscovered by an archaeologist in the future, and what the items would likely tell them about us. Robert Harris has written many political thrillers about power, secrecy, and truth. In The Second Sleep, he applies that same forensic intelligence to the ultimate political subject, the fate of knowledge itself. As with all the Robert Harris books I have read so far, I was not able to put this one down. I'd be standing by the stove, cooking, reading at the same time, or turning the lights back on at night because I couldn't rest until I finished the book. So yes, I can highly recommend this book. You'll need a couple of chapters to get into the somewhat difficult language, especially as a foreigner, but it is well worth it. Thank you for watching. If you liked this review, please give it a like, and I will see you in my next video. Bye bye.